Good morning. There were once two friends that were hunting in the jungle together when they heard a rattling, a noise from behind them, and they see not too far off in the bushes, there's a cheetah. They could see its eyes, and they could see that it's a matter of minutes before it's going to start running after them. So they're about to start running, and one of them bends down, takes out of his bag 2 sneakers, and starts to change his shoes. So his friend tells him, "Fool, you really think you're going to outrun the cheetah?" He says, No, I don't have to outrun the cheetah. I have to outrun you. This week in the Parsha, we have the story of the 2 sisters, Rochel and Leah. And it's really the story about Yaakov being fooled by Lavan in an area no less than which daughter of Lavan he's going to marry. They have made up a deal that he's going to work for Lavan for 7 years, which, mind you, is his uncle, but he hadn't worked for him for 7 years. And he's going to give him his daughter Rochel as a wife. And when it came time to getting married after 7 years, which went by very quickly because he loved Rochel so much and really wanted to marry her, but Yaakov knew his father-in-law to be Lavan, and he knew how untrustworthy he is. He was a sly liar, and he was a cheater, and so on and so forth. And therefore, he told Rochel, "We have to make a kind of deal here. I have to give you a code. If somehow we will, if somehow when it comes to getting married, your father decides he wants to give Leah because she's older, then I'm going to give you a code." And he gave her the code. The code was Chana, which is an acronym of the 3 mitzvahs that are unique to women in the Jewish home. And that's Nida and Adlakas Neres. It's the laws of when they bake challah, they have to take off a portion and give it to the kohen, or these days it's burnt. The lighting of Shabbos candles, and the laws of mikvah, family purity, which apply to women. So the concept here is that Yaakov suspected that his father-in-law is going to try to cheat him. And instead of giving him the younger daughter, he's going to give him the older daughter, Leah. And therefore he gave Rochel these signs that it's going to be dark outside, it's going to be night, he's not going to be able to see, his father's going to work very hard, they are sisters. Here's the code. I'll know it's you. Now let's fast forward. In the end, he ended up marrying Leah. He was fooled. And then he married Rochel afterwards. And Leah has many children, and Rochel has none. And the Torah tells us the following pasuk. Vatekane Rochel ba'achaysa. Rochel was jealous of her sister. Her sister Leah had children. Rochel did not have children. She was jealous. Now the question is, why should you categorize a great righteous woman like Rochel? Why should you categorize her and describe her as being jealous? Jealous is a very toxic emotion. Jealous is not a good thing. We know that it's forbidden. Lo sachmaid, do not be jealous. And yet here Torah comes and tells you, Rochel, she was jealous from her sister. And by the way, she was not a person who was jealous by nature. Think about it. She just gave away, frankly, her husband. She didn't want Leah to be embarrassed. And when Lavan came and tried to fool Yaakov, she gave Leah the signs because she didn't want Yaakov to say when Leah comes, "Hey, it's not you," and she'll be really embarrassed. This is the woman that you're calling jealous. This is the person that you say she was jealous of her sister. What's the idea? So let's understand how bad jealousy is. Chazal, our sages, tell us that jealousy takes a person out of this world. It destroys you. And one of the reasons is because jealousy makes you feel very not confident with yourself. Any time that you feel you see the other person that's better than you, more successful than you, greater than you, it makes you feel somehow smaller. It makes you feel as non-existent. and that you are not capable. So the more jealous you are, the less adequate you feel. And after enough of that type of feeling, it leads you to a very, very bad place. You can't reach anything can't really achieve anything in your life. It takes you out of the world because you're constantly jealous. I want to share an explanation of why Torah, this shave, Rachel's caver, we're told that Rochel comes out and she prays for us. And Hashem says, Rochel, don't cry, because there's reward for your act. Because you are so selfless, and you gave your sister the codes, that she shouldn't be embarrassed, I will answer your prayers, says Hashem. I will grant the Jewish people this that they're asking for, and they'll come back home. They'll come back to Israel. This exile will end. So Rochel and her heroic act, and a very selfless act, is tremendous. Why are we coming out and calling her jealous? There's a Hayom Yom where the Rebbe tells us that there are certain times in life when you are supposed to be jealous. There are certain times in life when it's appropriate to be jealous. And that is about spiritual matters. When you notice that somebody else is doing better than you in spiritual realms, they pray better than you, they learn better than you, they're kinder than you. When you notice that someone else is better than you spiritually, that is supposed to bring out from you certain jealousy. You should strive, you should want to be like them. When you see someone else that's doing better than you materially, physically they're better, don't be jealous. But when you see someone that's spiritually better than you, you should be jealous. This is what we find a healthy type of jealousy. You see the other person and you want to learn from them. You want to become like them. You want to gain some insight of how to live a better life, how to be more connected spiritually, how to do more of what Hashem wants. So your jealousy is not a sense that you feel inadequate. It's a sense of admiration. I want to get better. It's one of the concepts that some people, they like competition because it keeps them on their toes. They don't look at it as threatening. They look at it as empowering. They look at it, as motivating. And that's how a person should look at jealousy, according to Torah. When you see something that's spiritual, something that's really good, a person has a great refined character, you look at them and you say, wow, they're so kind, they're so sensitive, they're so caring. They go out of their way for other people. And you're inspired by it. And it gets you to do that. That's a good jealousy. And if you look closely, Rashi tells us, when the verse says, Rochel was jealous of her sister, the pasuk says, Rashi explains, she was jealous from her ma'asim tovim, from her good deeds. That's what she was jealous about. That why does Leah have children and I don't? It's because she must have good deeds. I wish I had those good deeds like her. It's not that I'm jealous of her success. I'm jealous of what led to her success. What can I do in my life to be kinder? What can I do in my life to have more ma'asim tovim, more good deeds? So we're not describing Rochel as bad by saying she was jealous. We're describing her refined spiritual state, that when she sees someone that's better than her in their divine service of God, she's jealous, she's striving to become more like them. And that's really the key here. I want to share with you a story of the great Khasid, Rabbi Lepler. Rabbi Lepler was a Khasid of 4 Rebbes, of the Alter Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, and the Rebbe Marash. You've seen 4 Rebbes. And he lived to be close to 100 years old, which was very unusual in those times. Life expectancy was probably half of that at that time in Russia. And he was originally from the town of Lepli. That's why he's called Yikosia Lepler. And he was not a very bright man. He was not someone that really knew a lot of study and had an easy time learning. But he did what he had to. He showed up. He tried. Well, one day, after the Alter Rebbe passed away and he became a chassid of the Mittler Rebbe, he is sitting in his town in Lepli, in the shul, and some young chassid comes in, young guy, and he starts to give over a chassidic discourse, a maimer, that the Mittler Rebbe said. Now, the Mittler Rebbe said a very deep mimer, and this Chassid is explaining these Kabbalistic and Hasidic terminologies, and it hurt him a little bit. Here's this young guy, and he gets all these deep Hasidic concepts. So he's sitting and listening. And this guy gets it, and Rabbi Kusiel doesn't. He closed himself in his room, and he was broken. He really felt like, come on, I'm nothing. What's the point? I don't understand. I can't learn. This young little schnook comes here, and all of a sudden he gets it. He understands it. He decided he's going to insist that this chassid teach him the Maimer, the Hasidic discourse. And he sat with him, and this chassid was a kind fellow, and he explained it to him once, twice. For 3 weeks they were learning, and he was trying to explain to him this Maimer. And it wasn't going. He just literally didn't get it. He wasn't so smart, but he was definitely determined. And after 3 weeks of trying, he said, listen, I can't do it. I'm not able to. So he went to Lubavitch. He came to the Rebbe. He got a private audience and he started to cry, literally sobbing. I want to learn. I want to understand. And I can't. This young guy does, and I'm older and more experienced and supposedly more learned. And look, I nothing. And the Rebbe told him the quotes from our sages: "Ein lecha davar ha'omed b'fnei haratzon." Nothing stands in the way of will, of desire. If you truly want, nothing can stop you. And he told him that you should go and, so he understood. Okay, fine. I gotta sit and figure this out. So he sat down. He told his family it'll be a few months. And he tried, and he sat down on Lubavitch, and he learned for many, many hours. And he tried to understand, and he reviewed, and he asked questions, and he thought about it, and he put an effort, and he really did not give up until he got it. And over some time, he actually did start to understand, and he started to expand his talent, literally, his ability to understand things and grasp it and process opened up. And he became one of the greatest Hasidim as far as understanding Hasidus goes and really perceiving deep concepts, Rabbi Kusiel reached that. Where did it all start from? It started from jealousy, from seeing someone else and feeling inadequate or feeling bad. Now, it's not that I feel that I'm not confident or I'm not capable, but I feel if only I could also learn that good, if only I could also achieve spiritually those levels. And this is why Torah tells us that Rochel was jealous. Rochel wasn't jealous that she's not as good as her sister successfully, materially. She was jealous that Rochel must have a certain merit. Rochel definitely has something spiritually great, which is causing her to merit these children. And that's what she was jealous from. So friends, when you see someone else materially more successful than you, when you see someone else physically more successful than you, don't be jealous. It's forbidden. And it's not a good thing. But if you see someone else that's spiritually better than you, their deeds are better, their learning is better, their prayer is better, yes, by all means, be jealous. Try to become like them. Let it propel you. Let it motivate you to try to grow and to be better. Have a wonderful day. Please share this video. If you like it, mention that. Subscribe, and I look forward to learning with you again very soon.